Welcome to the Zone. Today I wanted to do a short video that was requested by a gentleman over on our Discord server. Basically, he wants to know what I think about Stalker 2, what it'll be like, and after pointing him at the video I made about a year ago concerning this topic, he wanted an updated video. Considering the developments that we've seen since then, I think it's warranted. But first, if you enjoy the channel, feel free to like and subscribe and hit the little bell goober. It really helps the channel out, and it's pretty much the only thing that YouTube cares about, so thanks. So in the last video that I made about this, I made it a point that I never pre-order games anymore. The last game that I bought in early access was Star Citizen in like 2013 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly when I bought it, but it was pretty early on in its development. Many promises were made that were simply not possible to deliver upon, and I only played the game a couple of times in the last decade. It taught me a lesson that most people just simply refuse to learn, which is that spending money on a product that is not reviewed or even seen is risky, just like pre-ordering or speculating anything can be. With today's marketing programs and all the hype beasts that are constantly bombarding you with advertisements and early access material, it can be difficult to not get excited about games, and Stalker 2 is certainly no exception. All that being said, I wanted to do a little update on the status of Stalker 2 and its pre-order situation. But first, a message from our sponsor. As of right now, I will be pre-ordering a copy of Stalker 2. Should you? Certainly not. No, do not do it. The only reason I can justify doing it is because I'm making YouTube videos on the subject. I really want to get it as soon as possible and do first impression videos, analysis stuff, and give you guys an unbiased review of the game, as I see it at least. I'm sure that I won't be the only one doing this, so you'll have thousands of videos alongside mine, which should help you make up your mind about whether you want to buy it or not. The game itself could be good, or it can be complete dog water. We really have no idea at this point. Everything points to it being a fun experience, but there's always a chance that our expectations could be misplaced. I'm not telling you to despair or hype the game, I'm just saying that it's a video game. These are prone to be full of bugs at launch and completely miss the mark on entertaining the player. They could have a shit story or could simply be an unentertaining release. Just manage your expectations. Now for the fun part where I get to complain more about pre-ordering practices. Currently, if we look at Stalker 2 on Steam, we can see that it has a release date of December 2023. I would imagine that this is probably tentative. Now for obvious reasons, we can't really pick at the lack of a hard release date. The studios had to move to a different country and deal with war, yada yada, etc. And we've currently got 3 different tiers of pre-order on Steam. The standard game is $59.99, the deluxe is $79.99, and the ultimate edition is $109.99. Pre-ordering the standard game gives you the game, plus some exclusive Steam content. The deluxe version gives you all that, plus an extra special quest, a digital art book, the soundtrack, and some cosmetic skins. The Ultimate gives you all of that, all those previous perks, plus more skins, 2 story expansions, and a season pass, which will give you all the DLC as well. And this is pretty standard from the looks of it. Most companies have this sort of tiered pre-ordering system, so it's not surprising that they're going with it as well. Then we have the physical editions, which are absolutely insane, which offer the same perks but also give you some merch with it as well, like faction patches and letters from developers and all that jazz. These go all the way up to $379.99. Now, while there's obviously precedent for this happening with other games in the past, so it's really not surprising that there would be some kind of expensive pre-ordering packages that are available to people before the game launches. All that being said, I hate it. I really do. I hate the fact that pre-ordering a game is just commonplace today. I completely understand the desire from developers to try to generate cash flow and help a project move along and get funding, but that's what Kickstarter's for, or other crowdfunding platforms. One thing that did concern me extremely when I looked at the pre-order for the physical packages, it doesn't come with a physical copy of the game. Now, you could be saying, who cares, right? You'll download the game anyway. The majority of games no longer have physical copies. Well, yeah, again, it's an industry standard for almost everything to simply be a digital download, even on consoles these days. I may just be a boomer who wants a disc or a flash drive with a copy of the game on it. Sure, I'll grant you that. But there's something that we can really glean from this. If I were to pay $380 for a game, I would expect some limited edition case or copy of it. I mean, that's just me. Maybe that's not done anymore. Even if this is a very niche thing that most people probably won't want, most people aren't going to shell out that kind of money. It would be a very specific kind of person, a very diehard fan. And I'm not saying that they're stingy or don't think that it'd be worth it to create a physical copy. What I'm really getting at is that you can't patch a physical CD. You can't have a bug fix a few days after launch to remedy mistakes before more people buy the game and complain. You can't correct a mistake that pisses off the fan base. Again, you may say, well, that's good. They want the option to make it right if something goes wrong. And to that I simply say, they're bracing themselves for the likelihood that something will be wrong. I could completely be off base, but it's a growing trend that I've noticed. File sizes for games have increased because of bloat and unoptimized game design, simply because a physical storage device doesn't limit developers anymore. Games are basically planned around a release of hot fixes or multiple patches in their first few days on the market because of oversight and quality control. Content is changed or is simply removed or added because of reviewers causing a stir. These are all reasons why the industry has moved away from physical products when it can, and I feel that sometimes it can be a crutch that developers lean on to justify releasing a game that it has not yet finished. This could be a shitty boomer take on how games have changed, and so take it all with a grain of salt. This is just my opinion. I'm not a game reviewer nor some game industry professional. I'm just a guy telling you what he thinks. Now, GSC has done some good things in the past, like moving their actual release date, which is a very good thing. I think it's a great thing to be transparent with the people who are going to be buying your product and saying, hey, we're not ready yet. We don't know when we're going to be ready yet. We'll let you know. Similar to like what the guys did for Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, where they simply would not give us a release date because they didn't want to rush the product. They wanted to wait till it was done. Now on to a much more interesting question. Will Stalker 2 be good? Assuming it's not another cyberpunk fiasco and it's actually a playable title, I think that question is probably better rephrased as, will I like Stalker 2? Personal taste is everything here. In my last video talking about the subject, I brought up the fact that even if Stalker 2 sucks horribly, we still have many, many, many amazing mods for Stalker. We've got Anomaly, Gunslinger, Lost Alpha, and the list is literally endless at this point. And that's great to have such an amazing community of modders out there that really help out the entire community. But I think that Anomalous Dugout had a great video on this topic very recently, which you can find in the description of this video below. Because of the popularity of Gamma, a giant mod pack for Stalker Anomaly, which is a mod of Stalker, the majority of new people to the series have based their entire perspective of what Stalker actually is off of Gamma. It's not necessarily all Gamma, but many mods are out there, and I think that Gamma's the biggest, and that's generally what I see people asking about. I'm not a fan of Gamma, personally, for a few different reasons, But I can almost guarantee you 100% that if you're going into Stalker 2 expecting something like Gamma, you will be highly, highly disappointed. Gamma has many features and gameplay choices that are completely mod-based. Stalker Anomaly in general is very much the same as well. It's a very different experience from the original Stalker games. And while I love Anomaly and all the potential that it has, it allows players to tailor their experience to what they personally like, and not what GSC is creating for Stalker 2. People will need to have an open mind when going into Stalker 2 to actually enjoy it. We've seen in the past with other IPs that there are times that sequels do better than the originals and become more recognized. I'm not sure if this is what's going to happen, but given that there's over a decade between the originals and Stalker 2, many people will go into Stalker 2 expecting it to be an offshoot of a mod that they've played before. If you haven't played the originals and you buy Stalker 2, you're going to get a harsh reality check. To really get a good picture of what the developer's vision is going to try and follow, you'd have to play the originals, which you totally should regardless. It's, in my opinion, they're great. They'll need to play the games as they are, and let's face it, they're very old and outdated at this point, and it could be hard to try and get an idea of what the sequel will be like if you're going to be playing an old game like this. But you'll need to play them, see what the actual vision of the originals was, and then manage your expectations that mods like Gamma have instilled in people. I'm not saying that the Stalker 2 is going to be exactly the same as the originals. It's definitely not going to be from what I can see. But they're probably going to have the same theme and stylistic choices as the first ones, I would imagine. But bottom line, will Stalker 2 be good? I have no idea. No one has any idea. At this point, we really have no clue. We have a trailer, some leaked art out there floating in the ether somewhere, and what we see on the website and press releases. Again, assuming that Stalker 2 is actually playable and stable and there's no huge bug mess, I think it will probably have a very good story and gameplay. What that is going to look like really remains to be seen, but it seems to be the case that GSC is putting a huge amount of devotion and time into this game. I'm more concerned with maybe the writing being bad or having story choices or lore choices that I don't like. I think that would be a huge deal breaker for me and a lot of other fans of the series. But considering again that the original games are very dated by today's standards, I'm fully expecting the gameplay to be very different from the originals, and I embrace that. I just accept that as a fact of life. I'm not concerned with the game looking or feeling different than my favorite Stalker mod either. I'm going into it with cautious optimism, and I'm looking forward to the game finally releasing, simply so I can tell you all about it and how I feel, if I was right or if I was wrong. But thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe, and thanks to all my patrons who help out all the time. Until next time, friends, I'll see you in the zone.